An arrest in Thunder Bay's latest homicide. Local business owners express optimism for the year ahead. And 2 American hostages have been freed by Hamas. Good evening and thank you for joining us. A Thunder Bay man has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of another man last weekend.
City police took 25-year-old Russell Braden Muniz into custody yesterday afternoon. The victim was also identified today as 24-year-old Abdullahi Mohammed Ali from Toronto. He was found in an Ogden Street home on Sunday afternoon. The death was quickly ruled a homicide. Police later confirmed that it was a shooting related to the illegal drug trade. But Detective Inspector Jeremy Pearson says there's no indication the killing was gang-related. Pearson adds they're not looking for any other suspects in Ali's death, but are always open to new information.
We are completely confident in the investigation that the person responsible is in our custody. At this point in time, any further charges or any other individuals will be subject to the ongoing investigation. At this point, the charges we've laid are for first-degree murder, and we're confident in those.
Muniz made his first court appearance today and remains in custody.
A candlelight vigil was held in Winnipeg last night for a man from Wesley First Nation who died soon after being forcibly restrained by Winnipeg police last weekend. The interaction with police officers was caught on cell phone video by a bystander, and a warning to viewers: the footage is disturbing. The video shows 2 Winnipeg police officers using force to subdue the man on Sunday evening. Officers were called about a man in the street acting erratically and punching a vehicle. Winnipeg's police chief says the man became combative when officers arrived and they struggled to control and restrain him. The man eventually lost consciousness and was pronounced dead in hospital. Manitoba's Independent Investigations Unit is now probing the incident. Family members in Webequie have identified the deceased as Elias Whitehead. Webequie Chief Cornelius Wabas has issued a statement extending condolences but reserving comment while the investigation continues. Around a dozen people attended a vigil last night to remember Whitehead.
Thunder Bay police have charged a 27-year-old man with possession of child pornography. Eromal Kumari was taken into custody today after police seized several electronic devices from a Johnson Avenue home on Wednesday. Kumari appeared in bail court today and has been released with conditions.
In a separate case, a local 25-year-old man has also been charged with possessing and accessing child pornography. Police arrested Ian James Cunningham this morning after seizing electronic devices from an Essex court residence back in August. Cunningham has been released with conditions after appearing in court today.
The majority of Thunder Bay business owners are feeling optimistic about the year ahead, despite the fact that inflation is causing more concern than it has in decades.
Those are some of the findings from the 2023 Business Confidence Index, released this morning by Thunder Bay Ventures. Basilios Bellows has more.
It's a way of gauging both the achievements and challenges faced by local businesses. Thunder Bay Ventures, with the help of Lakehead University researchers, have released their biannual Business Confidence Index report at the local Innovation Center.
There is a fair degree of optimism about the future and the local economic conditions.
The results are based on a survey put out to local businesses, which saw 91 respondents this year, only about half as many as in 2021. 78% of respondents experienced stable revenues this year, with the majority also believing the economy will continue to improve over the next 12 months. Thunder Bay Ventures GM Maria Vidato believes the survey can help the public better understand the local economy.
I think the community at large benefits from having these results. You know, it helps identify what some of the business, our local community and area, some of the challenges that the businesses have.
One of those challenges that is a much larger concern for local business owners than in past years is inflation. Many respondents talked not only about how it affects their operating costs, but also how it limits the amount of disposable income for clients. LU's David Richards says along with these concerns, there were others consistent with surveys of years past.
A lot of those are related to increased cost of doing business. Taxes are a recurring theme. The inflationary pressures that organizations are facing is a big challenge for sure.
Thunder Bay Ventures hopes to carry out the survey once again in 2025. Researchers say continued feedback from the business community will help improve how they collect and present their data. Vasilios Bellows, TBT News.
Highway 11 between Chappaqua and Atikokan was closed for several hours today due to a single vehicle collision. OPP say a passenger vehicle crashed around 9 a.m. just east of Highway 802, the 802 turnoff. The driver was transported to hospital by air ambulance with non-life-threatening injuries. The highway reopened around 12:30 this afternoon.
Local businesses have once again teamed up with a charity that helps feed hungry Thunder Bay children. Prestige Home Comfort, along with Frankie's Pizzeria and local radio station CKPR, spent all day collecting food and money for Feed the Kids, which supports the local Isthmus program. The charity provides food for elementary school children who don't have enough at home and rely solely on school-subsidized meals. Isthmus has partnered with Prestige Home Comfort for 5 years. During that time, they've raised enough to feed hundreds of hungry kids for the entire school year. Prestige store manager Chrissy Claus emphasizes the importance of the partnership, saying there's more than 500 local elementary students who don't have food on the weekends.
It's sad to think that in our community that there is kids going hungry when, you know, we all have food on the table, and it's heartbreaking. So we want to make sure that those kids get fed on the weekends. It's important that we all work together, like all the businesses, whoever can donate, who's ever able to donate, to all help out to help these kids.
For those who still want to contribute, Prestige accepts monetary and food donations for Isthmus whenever the store is open.
Midterm season has arrived for many students at Lakehead University, but today some of them set aside their pens and paper and picked up a sledgehammer instead.
The Engineering Student Society gave students a chance to relieve some stress by smashing an old car set up on campus. Josh Morano has the story.
For the first time since 2019, the Engineering Student Society at LU held its car smash event. Students came out during the midterm season to relieve some of their stress by putting hammer to steel. For 1 or 2 minutes alone in the steel cage, students were charged a few dollars to blow off some steam. All profits from the event are reinvested in enrichment events and initiatives for students like degree project funding and the Lakehead Engineering Competition. President of the ESS, Sajin Bug, along with other members, say they are happy to have the event back and hope it makes studying for students a little less stressful.
We're taking this car and we're putting all our anger into it by smashing the crap out of it. It's midterm season right now. Everybody's stressed, everybody's angry, so I feel like it's a great way to just get your frustration out.
For the students that got some wax in, they say they feel way better about their coming tests.
It was very relieving, I would say. I feel a lot less, I feel a lot lighter. I had a lot of stress spent in, I didn't know I had. And as soon as I started swinging, I was like, here's for my math midterm, and my Chem midterm, and my Phys midterm. And so, it felt really good.
Well, I mean, I've always dreamt of doing something like that. So when I saw it, and I was like, oh, let me test my strength out.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, I got a calculus exam coming up, and I didn't do too hot on the other exams so far, so we really needed to vent some stuff out.
They also say they feel seen and appreciated by ESS and the school for knowing and understanding how hard these times can be on their mental well-being. And even though it doesn't get rid of the exams like some may hope, it takes their minds off it for the time being.
They care about mental health and just finding an avenue to just get rid of that stress that's all built up.
Kids here, they don't really find the kind of time to relax and all that. So if the school were to put it out there, that they have they've brought out this way for them to relax and clear their mind of all the stress and all that, then I think it's a good thing.
While a lot of students are out here relieving stress, reporters, they got a lot of stress too. That's harder than it looks. Josh Morano, TBT News.
Reporters do have a lot of stress. It's great to see Josh be able to relieve some. I think we should park one out in our parking lot outside the building. Around 6:02, We might not even be able to do the news.
No,
There'll be
we
so
on
much
pause.
noise.
Absolutely. Well, that's too good. That's too good. Well, Thunder Bay music legend Tommy Horic celebrated his 80th birthday in style last night.
Horic, with his musical friends and family, put on a big show at the community auditorium. Even Paul Schaefer passed on birthday wishes. Joe Sadowski has the story.
This girl don't love me, but I love her just the same.
It was another birthday classic for Tommy Milestone Horic, where the Thunder Bay Auditorium was rocking with some of Tommy's original songs and covers of some all-time classics. But when Tommy pulled out that saxophone, it sent the crowd into a frenzy. The show featured a ton of special guests, including the sensational Hot Rods, Chris Greenkey, and Horic's friends and family, which Horic says is extra special having his kids by his side on stage.
And having my boys on stage with me, how wonderful can you imagine that is for me? Yeah. You know, it's just, well, it's top of the world.
Horic has had a long and illustrious music career, and he's performed with the likes of Neil Young, Bobby Curtola, and Paul Schaefer, who had a special video message for Tommy.
You're the best, Tom Horic. Wish I were there with you. So rock one out for me and everybody up there in Thunder Bay, and it's Paul Schaefer. Happy birthday, baby.
He brought music to darn near everybody in the city, and through the evolution of his bands, even the opening of the auditorium, when we named the street after Paul Schaefer, Tommy and his musical friends have always been there.
Horic turned 80 years young the day of his performance, and he still remembers the first concert he ever did and how he was paid $3.26 for his efforts.
First played at the Horic Recreational Center when I was 16 years old with Tom Kelly and R.B. Young and Stan Faneri, and Andy Trimark was the driver. And when I finished playing, they gave me $3.26. And I looked in my hand and I went, somebody actually paid me money for doing what I love to do.
Horic and the sensational Hot Rods' next live performance will be their New Year's Eve party at the Da Vinci Center. Joe Sadowski, TBT News.
Well, it's great to see him still going strong and playing music all these years later. We'll turn to weather now. Fiona, not a bad day out there, all things considered.
Yeah, things actually looked pretty good. It was a cool start. At 7 a.m., we were sitting at -2 and a wind chill of -5, but we did warm up to double digits, a high of 10, and mostly cloudy, although there were some really nice sunny breaks, and winds were very light for the most part from the northwest, 5 to 11 kilometers per hour. To the west, Fort Frances got a lot of cloud at this hour. They're at 13 Celsius, 11 in Kenora, 10 in Dryden, up into Red Lake. They are mostly cloudy, and all in all, not a bad day there as well. As you head further east, though, temperatures start to drop quite a bit. 9 in Sioux Lookout, 6 in Armstrong, 4 in Greenstone. And in fact, it was mostly cloudy with a brief shower this afternoon. Just in the last hour, the sun is starting to pop out, but it's not going to last long because end of the day, sun's going down. So it is clearing just a little bit, but only for a moment. As we head along the North Shore, it's also equally cool. 7 in Nipigon, 5 in Marathon, and Sault Ste. Marie saw temperatures fall steadily all day today. They're currently at a low of 7. They also had rain for most of the day. It's just been in the last few hours it started to dry out, and they're currently under mostly cloudy skies. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to drop down to a low of 3 tonight, and there is a very good chance that you will see rain before you get up in the morning. We've got a system pushing through that is expected to bring occasional rain, and we say occasional because it's just going to clip us. We are going to see it move through, and it's moving in a southeasterly direction, and we're just going to see the edge of this system move through overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So it's going to make things a little bit iffy for the beginning of your weekend, but the rest of it actually looking pretty good, and I'll have more details on that later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, some developments out of the Middle East today. 2 American hostages have been released by Hamas, but an estimated 200 are still being held, including 1 Canadian. We'll have those details when your Friday News Hour continues after the break.
In a deal brokered by the Qatari government, the mother and daughter were released on humanitarian grounds